Hi, my name is Martin Humpolec. I'm consultant at PwC and I'm also Salesforce MVP. And this is my first presentation I deliver from my bed. And together, here with me, somewhere else is...
Hi, this is Pawel Dobrzynski. I'm also working for PwC. I'm not Salesforce MVP. This is my second time I'm delivering presentation on Salesforce Community event, and this is my first time I'm delivering the presentation remote.
Let's go for it. First of all, we do have some safe harbor. We want to say that nothing was harmed, that you can follow our example. Don't take it literally, but you might be able to make it. We obviously will skip question and answer because you have no chance to ask us, but during the presentation we will deliver the demo, how it looks in real life, and then we will cover the different part of the solution so you know how we build it.
So the demo will be about the Smart Greenery, a model company that delivers greenhouses that are available for rent for the customers. These customers can focus only on growing the plants because the whole maintenance is being done by the Smart Greenery. What's interesting is that these greenhouses are being powered by the IoT devices. These are small pieces of electronics that measure humidity, temperature, and some other parameters, and constantly send this over the internet when the customer can see it. We will speak about traditional field service process that starts from the customer who has an issue. He calls the call center agent, and this is Salesforce user who handles the cases. Then the consultant agent can create work order, which is now being sent to the dispatcher. Dispatcher is also a desktop user who has the visibility on the timeline on all the resources, can manage the jobs, can reassign the jobs, and dispatch the jobs to the mobile employee. And finally, we have a mobile employee, a person who has a mobile device on which he receives the order from dispatcher, and then the technician goes on site, fixes the issue, updates the status of the job on his mobile device, and at the end creates a report. What we will see today is a little bit different process. It's a process driven by IoT, and it's also a process that can be seen in the industry. I would say this is the industry on the 21st century. So in this scenario, we have IoT devices that take care of the state of our asset. When anything happens, that information from the device is being sent to the IoT engine, who can understand the message and process it. If the IoT engine sees that something is unusual, it automatically creates a case, and that case is being forwarded to the dispatcher. In fully automated mode, that case can create work order, and this work order can be automatically sent to the mobile employee. And the technician so far is the only human that we need to have in this scenario. But we can have also a kind of the intermediary when we have dispatcher as a person. So this person analyzes the case and decides what kind of action will be taken. Either fix the issue remotely from the computer, or dispatch the work order to the technician who will go on site and fixes the issue. So now let's move to the demonstration. As you can see here, we have our greenhouse. It's a model, but it's fully live. You can see the IoT device. Unfortunately, it's not very well seen here, but you can see it on the pictures. And now we will move to the client, to text client man.
So let me share my screen because I'm the client. I'm really enthusiastic gardener. And what I want to show you is how I do it because I don't really want to get my hand dirty. So Pawel, if you can give me a screen, maybe, and I will share how it looks for me. This is my view. The company provides me with this nice Salesforce community where I see all the basic statistics. I can see all my greenhouses I have, and I don't need the greenhouses here. I have the greenhouses all over the world. But just wait a second, and we can see them. So I have two. I have some in Newport, and I have another in Polna. I can see all the statistics. I can see the picture. I can see the reading. I can see the humidity, everything, basically. And when I check on the humidity, I can see that something going on, and I don't really like it. The statistics doesn't look good. So I will book an appointment because that's what I want to do. It's just plants watering sounds bad. So let's send someone to take care. What are the times? Okay, tomorrow at 9. That sounds like a good time. Oh, whatever. I will open the case. Doesn't matter. But before that, I can see all the appointments they already had. So if I take all the service appointment, I can see what's going on, what's scheduled, what's completed. There's also something already dispatched in the morning. So I will just open the case. Hey guys, something wrong. Greenhouse. And that's it. That's all I do from the client perspective. And now it all goes to the dispatcher who will take care. So I'm stopping my sharing and back to the dispatcher.
So let me begin again. Now I'm the dispatcher. I can see all the greenhouses the company has. As you can see, there are 4. I can see the details, obviously the temperature, but also some other technical details, such as the battery health or how is the connection, or what is the delay, so when the last reading has been taken. As a dispatcher, I have access to my omni-channel. I see that the 2 cases came. One greenhouse has gone offline. One greenhouse has the humidity over the thresholds, but I can also view my cases. So let's see all my recent cases from the last day. And I see that there is a new case that just came. And something is wrong with the greenhouse number 4. So let's go and see the greenhouse. Yeah, the humidity was low, but now it's really going up. So let's see who can we send. The dispatcher clicks on the candidates button and selects the type, picks the humidity and temperature issues. He doesn't need to provide any information. The address is taken automatically. And he can click to see the candidates that can perform the work. As we can see, we have only one candidate. It's Barbara. And she has available time on Thursday. So let's schedule the first possible time to Barbara. That service appointment has been created. and I can view the details of the appointments. As a dispatcher, I also have a view on the whole the whole company. I can see my territories. I can see my technicians. So we have farmers, we have technicians, we have cleaners, and they work in 2 service territories. It's Warsaw Greater Area and Warsaw Greater City. Let's see on the map how it looks like. So this is the map. And we have 2 territories, one big, one small for the Warsaw City. And we see some icons. These are our appointments, and these are our technicians. Let me see the appointment that I just created. I click and I can view it on the gun. Indeed, it was scheduled to Barbara Granger, and it's scheduled for tomorrow at 10. But now something happens. The wind has detached the cover of the greenhouse. As a dispatcher, I can view also my appointment on the map. So here we see the appointment, and if we make the screen smaller, we see that this appointment has been in the Warsaw City territory. Okay, so when the greenhouse, when the cover was open, it should automatically create the case. And this case should come here. But before that case comes, let's take another case and see as a dispatcher what I can do. I see that there is the greenhouse number 2 went offline. So I can select the emergency button, and I can locate all my dispatchers, all my technicians that are available. So these are my candidates. I also can change the scheduling policy.
Which basically defines the rule which will be taken into account, whether we really want to be there as soon as possible or we want to limit some costs and such thing. And
other candidates. Let's see what happens with our greenhouse. Number 4.
It looks like our IoT just failed us and didn't open the case.
IoT didn't inform, so let's see what happens with our IoT devices. And obviously we have our IoT, and the door is open, but it didn't create us a case. So let's go back. And schedule a case directly to the person who can fix it. As a dispatcher, I select the emergency button, click on the emergency, and I look for candidates. Now I see that there is Chris Hammersmith that can provide me, that is close and can come. But I can also view other candidates. I will select this appointment to Kevin Fixman. After I do it, I can view the appointment. It's appointment number 2866. And let's now go and see what information Kevin has got.
Go, Kevin, go, we need help.
So let's now go and switch and view Kevin's phone. This is Kevin's phone. He has a field service application on which he can see all the appointments that have been assigned to him. And we see our new appointment that was just scheduled to Kevin to 866. So let's open it. It says what has to be done, and Kevin also can see the map. He can also get directions to navigate with the Google Maps to the place. Kevin goes to the place and changes the status to in progress so that the dispatcher can see what actually is going on. Then he goes and fixes the cover. Also, he goes to products and adds the products that he was using. So he put some two clips that fix the cover. So he takes this two clips from his and scans the code. This is a fixing clip. He adds this to we added to, and it's being added to the work order. Before he finishes, he goes to the location tab to see what other work orders are scheduled for this location. In case, because he's already there, so he could perform this work order. But he doesn't, he decides not to go and do anything. So he goes back to the overview, changes the status back to completed, because he completed his job. And after he finished, he generates the service report. On this report, he can sign. He can also ask the client to sign, but because there is nobody here, signs just himself and generates the report, which will soon go to Salesforce and be visible in the system. So, how does the stuff work? We have three components, or maybe four components, that took part in this scenario. So first of all, we have IoT devices that measure the parameters and send these readings to the IoT cloud. This IoT cloud can process these readings, or it can only pass the messages further to Salesforce, where Salesforce IoT module analyzes these messages. If nothing happens, it just stores the information in the record where it is available in the community. When something unexpected happens, and this is what we should see during this demonstration, when the greenhouse cover is open, that message still goes from the IoT device to the IoT cloud. The IoT cloud sends this message further to Salesforce, but now, hey, here in Salesforce, the IoT module discovers that something is wrong. The cover is open and it should create a case. And that case is being created and sent to FSL agent. And the FSL agent finds the nearest technician and schedules the work for this technician. Let's see all those components one by one. So if we go from the left-hand side, we have the whole IoT structure. And this structure is being built from two elements. One are the devices, and the second is the cloud. In this example, we used Electric Imp managed cloud, which helps you manage all the devices, program it, download the code, and monitor the status of the devices. In our example, that cloud takes all the messages from the devices and sends them further to Salesforce IoT.
And here's the code. Let me share my screen so I can walk you through the code. And one of the reasons why we use the Electric Imp is that it allows us to authenticate to Salesforce, because usually the IoT devices are pretty simple. They know just their task and they don't care that much about the security. So Salesforce is unable to connect to Salesforce. In the Electric Imp interface, we basically have three parts of the screen. We have the agent code on the server, the device code on the device itself, and some kind of debug. And the code is pretty simple. We basically just take the reading from the sensors. We assign the readings into some kind of variable. So we take the temperature, we take the humidity, we take the pressure. We also take the level of light and the voltage of the battery, of course, and we have the accelerator. So based on that, we can decide whether the cover is open or it's closed. We take all the information and we basically just send them to a server. Agent sent. On the server side, the agent takes care of all about the authentication. So most of the code is about the authentication, but it's not really that important. The important part is that it takes all the information from the body it received from the device, and it basically just transforms it somehow. It adds the _ C at the end of every single key, so it can map into the Salesforce platform events. And at the end, it just takes care about the authentication to Salesforce, and it sends the request. And on the console, we can see what it writes and how it works. And this way, it went to a Salesforce. And if we take a look in the Salesforce side, which we have on the presentation, we can see that on the Salesforce side, we use the platform events to store the information. So we do have a platform event. We have all the fields created. The fields are the same as the parameters in the body of the request the device or the agent from imp send. And Salesforce takes this platform event and uses the IoT processing engine to make some magic around that. So if we go to the next slide, we can see the Salesforce IoT processes and the state machine, which is, let's say, a nice graphical visualization how it looks like. You can define all those different statuses, and you can see how many devices are in each of those statuses, and also the transition states between each status. And this nice graphical representation, which is good for the monitoring, is being defined by, let's say, a table structure, which we have on the next slide, where you defined for each parameter what should happen. So here we have the condition that if the temperature is higher than the set temperature on the greenhouse, that it should create a temperature threshold case. And it also should transition into the temperature higher state. What's interesting in this screen is probably how it knows which greenhouse is the right one. And basically in the request, we do have the device ID parameter. And in the IoT cloud, we define the mapping between all the fields and the relevant fields on our Salesforce object. So we do have the greenhouse object in Salesforce with the field device ID. And as long as those two numbers are the same, the Salesforce IoT knows that it's the greenhouse we speak about, and it's able to take the field from that specific greenhouse and compare it to the value in the platform event record.
So the case has been created. What happens next? Next, the case is going to the service console, and it looks like a typical case, except of 3 actions that we can see on the screen. These actions come from Field Service Lightning, and they allow to create work order for the case and schedule that work order to a technician. There are 3 different actions. So one is book appointment, when the agent can only view possible appointments for the dates. This action can be typically used when the agent is on a call with the client, and then he provides to the client potential time when the technician can come to the client. The next action is candidates. So in this functionality, the agent can see candidates, and he can choose himself who he thinks will be the best candidates for him. And the last one is emergency, and the emergency dispatch lets you view all the candidates. It can also allow to break some business rules that are normally applied to other types of scheduling the technicians. So, for example, we don't care about how far is that person, or does he has the right skill. We just display everybody, and then the dispatcher can select the technician to whom the work order should be sent. How FSL knows to whom dispatch the work? So there is the 7W rule. It's who does what, where, when, for whom, and with what. And Field Service Lightning is using a set of hard business rules and also some soft service objectives to select the optimal candidates. Let's look how this happened. So we start with what? Something needs to be done, and this is work order. Then we have another Salesforce object that defines what is the kind of the work. So of course, if we want to do the plant watering, it's a different type of work than fixing the detached cover or doing the maintenance or doing the cleaning. So when we know what, of course, we need to know for whom and where. And here there are 3 other Salesforce objects that take part. It's account, location, and asset. When we want to know when, it's another object called service appointment, and it holds 2 information. When it should be done, so when the work order is being agreed with the customer, we agree on the certain time between the start and end when the technician should come on the place, but it also defines when it will be done. So when the appointment goes to the right technician, we know the time of the arrival better, and we can communicate this to the customer. But if we want to decide when, we need to know who will do it. And when we think who will do it, we need to consider the territories. We obviously don't want to send somebody from Warsaw to London if we have somebody already in London who can perform the work. And we need to consider the hours, the working hours, potentially overtime, potentially some dedicated hours for emergency work. And this sits in another Salesforce object called operating hours. And last but not least, there are skills. So if we want to select the right resource, we need to be sure that this person has the right skills to perform the work. And these are the major field service lightning objects that are being used for the scheduling. So to recap, we start from the service territory to narrow down the candidates. We go through skills because we need to schedule the right technician. When we have the skills, we need to check the availability because field service lightning lets you schedule the appointment only for the time when the technician can take it. And at the end, we have preferences. Do we want to optimize our work on time of the delivery, or we want to optimize on cost? And this how it looks from field service lightning perspective. Again, we have, let's say, 100 employees that can potentially do the work. These are all our technicians we have in the company. Then we apply work rules that are the yes-no qualifiers. So here we speak about the location, about the availability, about the skills, and then we select, let's say, a group of 5 employees. Each of them could do the work because they are in the right place, they have the right skills. But we want to select the best employee to perform the work. And this is where we come to service objectives, which are basically defined KPIs for the company, such as minimize travel or minimize overtime or do the work ASAP. And based on those KPIs, we select the optimal employee. And this is everything happens behind the scene, and let field service lightning to find the right employee to do the job.
The last part of the puzzle we just showed you is the Salesforce Community, where we use the standard Salesforce Community template. We just put the picture and change the colors. And I'm the text client man. I do have a user account, and the user account is connected to my contact in Salesforce, and the contact is connected to my account. And all the greenhouses I own are connected to my account as well. And we are using a special part of the Salesforce Community Cloud, which is called sharing sets, which is something which drives the security model in communities. It works a bit differently to sharing rules in the standard Salesforce cloud. And basically you define the mapping between the fields on the records and the fields on the user. So I can see that user contact account is equal to account ID or account ID on case or account ID on greenhouse. And by using these sharing sets, which look simple at first, but they are really powerful in terms of the communities, you can drive the access because you can set it up once and it works across those 1,000 and 1,000 community accounts you have, and those different users who can share the access to the same company, to the same account. Sadly, we don't have a chance to allow you questions and answers. But if you do have question and answer, I'm pretty sure there's a way how to ask us. Get us on a Twitter, and we will try to do our best. And with that, enjoy watching the next presentation. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hi, I'm Peter Coffey, Vice President for Strategic Research at Salesforce. I'm here live on the expo floor at Dreamforce, still the world's largest single company technology event. The word capado, it means you've got this, and I think that's what people want from DevOps. They want a high level of assurance so that they can go do what they do, which is understand their customers and bring them an experience they've never had before. I'm Peter Coffey with Salesforce, encouraging you to build on capado.